Zealand's best male golfer. Ryan, great to catch up. I've been looking forward to this, just a wrap-up of the year for you. So you're back home now. How does it unfold between now and Christmas for a start?
For me, it's trying to spend a bit of time with family. I've been away from the kids for a few weeks, so definitely do a bit of babysitting. I'll be doing, hopefully, a bit of fishing. I've got a new boat coming, and I've got a little bit of golf to play in December with a couple of charity events. And other than that, just trying to get the body right, get the mind refreshed, and get ready for what will be a big year next year.
Hopefully you don't hear that drilling sound in the background. We've got to just work our way through that. We've got some builders doing some different stuff downstairs. Just on that, do you practice much, mate? I mean, now that you have some time off, are there things that in your game, you and your swing coach and so forth, you think, okay, I just need to iron that out?
Not really at the moment. I mean, that'll be, it'll be early next year at probably the earliest for doing some actual, golf swing work. I'll play a little bit of social golf over the next little while, and that'll pretty much be me, to be honest.
Do all of your mates want to have they all want to round with you, don't they, from now on? God, yeah, Foxy, you got some time off, mate. Come on, let's go play some golf.
My mates that I've played golf with for a while get it. They obviously want to play, but they also completely understand that, I play a couple of hundred rounds of golf a year minimum, and
it's my job. Yeah,
they'd to be honest, they'd rather just raid my wine cellar more than anything else. But yeah, I do get a few questions. So can you play? And I've got a little bit better for me at saying no to stuff like that. Especially with kids now, it's time's pretty precious. So I'd rather spend that time at home than just going to play a random round of golf with someone. I've got a few charity rounds to play, which is that's part of what I do anyway. But for the rest of it, it's just spend some time at home, and I'd rather probably have a barbecue with the boys and drink some decent wine than go out and have a whack on course with how much golf I've played the last little while.
See, I wanted to ask you about that because you're so generous with your time, and I know that your phone never stops ringing, and especially us in the New Zealand media are always chasing you and stuff like that. And I stepped in and did a speaking gig for you at the Northern Club before we went to the World Cup and so forth, because I know that you're just busy. Is it hard for you to say no, just as a person?
Yeah. I mean, I do struggle to say no, and most of the stuff you get asked to do is really, really good stuff to be a part of. Yeah. It's just, I mean, the one at the Northern Club, I was booked in to go, and then something changed and I had to be in the UK earlier, and I felt bad about saying no, but that's just something you've got to do in the end. And I'm getting better at saying no over the years, but it's still hard.
Mate, they got the 4th division prize. They got Devlin and they had Winston Peters. So, no, we didn't do too bad, mate.
I think he goes to, it could be the new Deputy Prime Minister at this point. There you go. So they probably did very well.
What is so different about this year from last year for you? I know you're going to have time to reflect on this, just in terms of I'm not saying the results and the wins and things, but what have you just felt about what is different about you and the way you're playing golf?
I think there's probably just an acceptance that, my game's good enough now, that I guess I've always believed it, but I'm not sure if the results had always shown it. And whereas the last couple of years, they've definitely shown that, it's good enough to compete with the best in the world. And, for me, it's having actually done it means a whole lot more than actually believing it. So I think that's where a lot of the good results come from. I don't feel intimidated under pressure anymore. I don't feel intimidated playing in those big events. I don't feel intimidated coming down the stretch, trying to win events, which is, 4 or 5 years ago, something that definitely happened more often than not. And it's a nice place to be.
Obviously, we're referring to the BMW at Wentworth, and I've been telling the story, and I hope I haven't been speaking out of school. But I said, look, when we all caught the train together to the World Cup final, we were stuck there in the carriage, and you were telling us about that back nine, and I was talking to Telf about this yesterday, and saying just that feeling that you could pick a club up, look at it, go, that's where I want to hit it, and bang, you just hit it there, and then you do it again and do it again. What a feeling, mate.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't say that's happened very often for me in golf. I mean, it happens enough socially or whatever, and occasionally in tournaments, but I don't think it's ever happened to me in that situation before. Obviously, it's a massive event. It's one of the strongest fields we have on tour, probably in the world, at that event, and to get that feeling and just feel very comfortable in that situation and feel like I knew exactly where it was going to go.
Wow.
It was almost a surprise to an extent. I felt far more uncomfortable at that golf course on a Thursday playing it than I have in that situation with the tournament on the line. And yeah, hopefully I can get in that place a bit more often, but I'm also at peace with that could be the best 9 holes of golf I ever play in my life. From that back 9 there, I missed one shot, which was a tee shot on 15 after an hour and a half delay. Everything else went exactly where I wanted to hit it. So it's if that's the best 9 holes of golf I ever play in my career, I'm good with that.
Ryan Fox is with us. Did you feel at the time that you're just kind of like the centre of the universe, like you're like not even aware of who else you're playing with or anything else? It's just like it was just you, because this is what that being in the zone thing is, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's quite hard to describe. I knew exactly what was going on. I knew that I had a chance to win. I knew what the scores were, but I didn't really have a clue who was doing it. I knew Aaron Rai was in my group and he was going okay, but other than that, I wasn't really thinking about, John Rahm was a group ahead of me going well, Tyrrell was a group ahead of me going well. I kind of got surprised at the end. After all said and done, I went and I saw the leaderboard when we went back to 18 for the prize giving, and basically gone, oh shit, that's who I've beaten down the stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, that, apologies for the language, but that's kind of what went through my head. Like, what's just happened? I knew I could win the tournament, but I didn't have a clue who was there. And I think in previous years that would have intimidated me, who was on that leaderboard, but I didn't even really recognize it, to be honest. It was it's just hard to describe where my head was at, and that it was just so calm, so at peace is not probably the right term for it, but it was, all the decision making was done very calmly. It was easy without, nothing felt tense, and that's, in that situation, it was, the exact opposite of what you probably should feel in that scenario.
Will you get treated any different, or have you been treated any different by the players now when you win a tournament like that? Do you notice anything like that?
Not really. I think, obviously, being the event that everyone wants to win in Europe means a lot, and I think you get a lot of respect from your peers for it, but certainly don't get treated any differently. Get treated a little bit differently by the tour per se. You become a bit more marketable in that side of things, but from your peers, not so much. It's just nice to know, you can have the respect of even the top guys for winning an event like that. There's certainly no hiding down the stretch and taking on those guys on that golf course. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have that respect from them.
Now, I apologise, if any of these questions, you've probably heard them 100 times and answered them 100 times before. And it's not about anyone in the field that you now think that, I can't beat them. You can beat them all. But when you go into these big tournaments like this now, is it more about you just have to completely focus on your own game and on the course, and it doesn't really matter who the hell else is playing?
Yeah, I think I've done a really good job of that the last couple of years anyway. The goal for most weeks has been to beat the golf course, not try to do anything else complicated, and that makes it so much easier coming down the stretch. I mean, if you think about trying to beat a guy like Rory with all the shots he's got, he hits shots that no one else in golf can hit, and you watch it and you go, well, I can't beat that. But if you think about it and go, well, I can beat the golf course just as well as Rory can beat the golf course in a slightly different way of doing it, then that challenge becomes a whole lot easier. And I think, a couple of the events that I've won in the last couple of years, he's been on the leaderboard and it hasn't been as intimidating as it would have been otherwise. And I think that's purely down to just trying to focus on beating the course rather than trying to beat the other guys that are playing.
Ryan Fox with us after his best year as a golfing professional, and that means now you get to play the US Tour next year. And we've spoken about this, and we've spoken about it privately as well. And, you know, it's a completely different set of circumstances than when you're going there on your own. So just how does that manifest? Does that mean that, that you know, the whole family, the kids come, wife comes as well with you? And then obviously you're going to have some support people around them as well. So how does that change things for you playing in the US?
Honestly, at the moment, I don't know. I'm still trying to work all of that out. The schedule changes quite a bit. It's going to be really, really busy the first sort of quarter half of next year, which is traditionally different than Europe. You know, we're a little busy in January, and then, you know, we don't really have a whole lot of golf until May, or you can take a bit of time off until May if you want to, whereas the PGA Tour is full noise from January onwards. And the family will definitely come up. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know whether it's getting a base up there, whether it's just traveling week to week, whether it's going to have people, you know, hire a full-time nanny up there. I honestly don't know. There's a whole lot to work out, and it's kind of amazing how quick, you know, that back nine at Wentworth sort of changed my whole career, my whole life effectively for next year. You know, that was what guaranteed the PGA Tour card for this year or for next year. And yeah, trying to work out how it's all going to work is pretty daunting at the moment, to be honest.
I don't know, pry too much into your personal life, but I mean, it must be so important to have not only a partner who's so supportive, but, you know, family and close friends as well, because all of us who've, you know, had little, you know, our kids growing up and that, we all know what the amount of physical work it takes, you know, babysitting a couple of kids, and also if you leave your partner to do all that all the time, well, that's very unfair on her, and she doesn't like that, and then that causes rifts and all of that kind of stuff. So maintaining all of that balance, I mean, it's actually quite a juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's good. I mean, traveling with kids is hard work. We did a fair bit of it this year. We did a lot of it last year with one, and two was definitely a different level this year. But it's, you know, my wife's very supportive. She enjoys the travel for the most part, although it was a bit stressful at the back end of this year with two kids and delays and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, to have, you know, obviously a family who's been involved in it as well. You know, mum and dad. Mum knows exactly what it's like with dad being away and having to, you know, potentially have two kids at home by yourself. Like, I think all of that really helps. My mates know what's going on. They're very supportive of it, especially when they got Masters tickets this year out of it. Like,
totally supportive. Yeah, like, totally supportive.
It's you need all of that. You know, you can't do it. I struggled a bit in the States this year when I was there by myself, and there was a fair bit of stuff going on off the course at home. And, you know, you need those support networks to be able to deal with it. It's, you know, it can be a very stressful way to make a living. I think in general, high level sport is that anyway. And if you don't have the right support, it's pretty hard to be anywhere near the top level. You know, I think especially golf, it's so mental as well. If you've got distractions or you're struggling with stuff or whatever, that can manifest itself pretty quickly onto the golf course. And I had a little bit of that this year, but also, you know, for the most part, did a pretty good job of forgetting about what was going on off the golf course and using the golf course as a little bit of a sanctuary, going, well, all I have to do is whack a little white ball around out there. I don't have to think about anything else.
Do you dream of winning a major? What do you actually think about that now? Do you do that visualization about it?
That's never really been me, to be honest. Obviously I dream about winning a major and stuff like that, but the visualization I've never really got. It's never really worked for me. I feel like I can. I feel, you know, obviously, again, from Wentworth this year, that's a high quality field, a lot of the world's best players, and I took them down the stretch, and I feel like I can definitely do it on a bigger stage. It's just trying to play my best golf on that stage, which is easier said than done. And certainly a goal. I'm not sure I'd be prepared for what would come with it. You know, the notoriety and everything like that, it gets a bit crazy, but I think it's something that it's a good problem to have if you do manage to win a major.
Couple of quick questions, we'll let you go, mate, and thank you so much again for your time. How do you get and maintain golf fitness? And the sub part of that question is, I know that, you know, when you're at the Masters, you're getting physio every day and stuff like that. I mean, do you count yourself lucky that, you know, your shoulders are good, your arms are good, your back stayed in shape, all of that?
Yeah, I get a lot of physio treatment over the year, and that's the biggest thing for me. I need to be better with the gym stuff and stuff like that, but I've generally
we
been
all do, mate. Come on.
I've generally been pretty lucky with injuries, and I think that's also got to do with, my first year on tour, I was in a bad way at the end of the year and saw a private physio the last event, and that sort of changed things a little bit for me and going, well, if I'm going to spend money on anything, I've got to spend money on this, because it made a massive difference, and the body has a massive influence on the golf swing, and I think, keeping on top of that physio-wise and making sure everything's moving properly and stuff like that is the most important thing for me. And I've done a good job of being on tour, of making sure I've got the right people around me for that.
John Rahm reckons he's going to sign for Live Golf. I mean, this was a question that was around for the last year or so. It seems a bit weird now that Live and PGA have well, why would somebody jump now to that tour?
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily believe the rumours, to be honest. I mean, I never chatted to John about it or whatever, but I saw some stuff that, he came out and that he was against Live Golf anyway. Like, he's got mates that went, but he didn't like the format and stuff like that. And there's been enough rumours going around with Live over the last few years that have been really strong rumours that haven't accounted for anything. It's just been rumours, and they can live in the rumour mill quite happily. If the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour want to do something new, they have to make sure it's signed, sealed, and delivered before they announce it, or they'll cop plenty of stick for it. Where I think Live is the opposite way. They can create some rumours, create some interest. It doesn't matter if the rumours are true or not. It still creates interest, and they've got the excuse of, well, we knew it didn't quite work, so we're just going to go in a different direction. And we'll see what happens with this John Rahm thing. But at the moment, my opinion of it, it's just purely a rumour, and that's what it is. I mean, I don't think anything's going to come of it.
Great catching up in Paris it was. Bummer about the result, but really good seeing you in person. And I just want to thank you so much, mate. I know I bug you, and I know, you give us a lot of time during the year and that. I really appreciate it. I don't know how many times I can say that, but I really do.
Well, thanks, Marty. It's a pleasure talking to you, and you don't bug me at all. Don't worry, mate.
All the very best for the new year. We look forward to catching up after Christmas and that break, of course, and we'll leave you alone till then. All the very best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Devlin. I just passed to COVID. I met me missus. The Platform.